people.
It's like, you know, people need something, so or they need some help, so you help them, and you know that when you need help, you'll get stuff back, and you've got something spare, so you give it to them, and you know that when you need something, that you'll get it back, and that's how it should be.
It doesn't even have to be from that person.
No, exactly.
It's
just from
it's like to us, the green dollar schemes have become almost like a stepping stone towards what could, you know.
And not everybody in the scheme sees that. Not everybody in the scheme sees. It's quite challenging for some people that it's like it's quite different and it's a bit strange.
Well, you're letting go of a lifetime of training.
The IRD thing, I kind of feel like I do need to go back to the thing about tax. So my understanding of the tax situation, and I did look up on the WINS website as well, actually. So this also applies for benefits. So as far as I am aware, if people are getting a regular income from green dollars, then they're regarding it as income. If the WINS website certainly says that if it's like an occasional favour and they've been given a little bit of green for it and it's not anything major, that they're not that interested and they're not going to include it in terms of benefits. But if somebody's doing regular, say, firewood cutting for green dollars, then it's part, and they look at it in terms of what benefits they get. So in terms of tax, Kwangers in the green dollar scheme, they obviously, you know, all of their stuff goes through their books, it all goes through the accounts, they pay all the stuff they're supposed to pay on it. I do quite a bit of work for Kwanger because we do the guided tour programme. I do workshops for Kwanger. John does workshops for Kwanger. So we get paid in green dollars. So all of that gets declared. It gets declared. But the thing that they were missing on that discussion on the Transition Town website was you don't declare it as green. It's income. It's just income. So it doesn't get written down as green dollar income. It's just income, and it's declared on my form that I do at the end of the year, and I pay. And I do pay New Zealand dollar tax on it.
Yeah, it's New Zealand,
but it's like, but it's just part of my income stream.
I was aware of that.
So that's
those people need to have that conversation.
And I think the reality for the stuff with the IRD is that if these schemes get massive and they start to see them, or if there's a political push for them to start trying to box them in, they will. And if there isn't that political will, then they won't.
But they'll only box them in if they don't and because when Miguel was here, he'd been talking to someone at the Reserve Bank. He'd send them in conferences. They like them. And they're keen on them as long as the tax comes in.
That's all. Bottom
That's
line,
all they care about.
It's just a legal requirement.
Because for them, it's probably money that some of it that they wouldn't have got.
Yeah, and what I was saying on that, because one of my responses on the website was because I think people were getting very hung up about the tax thing. My tax responsibilities are my tax responsibilities. That if you're the administrator of the scheme, they're not your tax responsibilities, they're mine. In the same way that you don't expect the bank manager to start telling you what you should be paying tax on or what you shouldn't. It's your legal responsibility. So people need to do their own thing with their own tax returns and declare.
So with the green dollar scheme, it's not an entity, so it doesn't have to pay tax. It's just a fluid motion.
Just a fluid.
Yeah, because there's nothing accruing.
Yeah,
it's just a scheme.
I think the interesting thing with your scheme is there's nothing physical.
Yeah, it's just virtual.
It's virtual, and so that's always interesting. And it's
yeah.
Have you had anyone try and rip it off?
No.
People who are in it. That is probably interesting actually. The people who are in it to join the scheme. Originally, they were all people who knew each other, and I was the person. I've been the administrator, so I was administrating it. And somebody would have to join, and I already knew them, and I knew everybody else knew them. So I'd go, yeah, okay. But then you got this thing where people I didn't know were asking to join the scheme. So I took that to the group, and so because I didn't want to be responsible for that, you know, me making a unilateral decision. So what should we do? So we decided that anybody who joins the scheme, they get a reference from somebody else who's already in the scheme. And it's just about saying these people are connected, you know.
Yeah.
It's about so you're not gonna start ripping your mates off, you know.
That was the point as well that we brought in the kind of ceiling for a probationary period.
Yeah.
For new members.
See how it works.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like a few $100 just for the first couple of trading periods, just to make sure that people aren't just going to go mad and accrue a massive debt and then get stuck and not know what to do with it. But I've been really impressed at how responsible everybody is about the whole thing. And some people who've gone through maybe some difficult times in their lives, and so the negative balance has sat there for a while. But then I noticed that one person I've got in my head about that is that stuff's obviously on the up for them, that they're better physically, and they've gradually started trading again. So they sat there and didn't trade for a while, and it was a bit of a concern, but it wasn't huge. But they've started trading again now that they're well, and I think there's a lot of responsibility that this is about a trading scheme that's about people within a community supporting each other and